So I'm going to start.
Sure.
Hello and Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to this very special session that is on World Environmental Day. Today we are going to discuss some important and a very important and urgent topic, that's sustainable fashion and its impact on the environment. I am Sania Faruqi from Team BizB, and I'm thrilled to have you all here join us at this session. And this session is going to be really informative, that's for sure. As you all know, that BizB is committed in promoting and supporting sustainable fashion through our platform via selling and buying of pre-loved clothes. So let's dive into the discussion. Meher, your camera is switched off. Can you please switch it off? Yeah, perfect.
There I am.
So today we have with us, let me introduce you to a very special guest who is right next to me digitally, virtually. So Mehr Husain, she is the author of Pakistan, A Fashionable History, founder of Zuga Accessories, a social enterprise focusing on indigenous craft and fabric, and she is the co-host of the Pakistan's first ever podcast on sustainability, and that's called ZooCast. So, how are you, Meher? I hope you're doing fine and you're doing great.
Very well. Thank you so much for inviting me here today.
You're most welcome. So we are going to start off this conversation with the impact of fast fashion on our environment. So can you please let us know and elaborate the impact of fast fashion that we have today today's day on the environment, please? Thank you.
Absolutely. The concept of fast fashion came about in Pakistan around the 2000s. This is once the fashion industry had been established by the 90s. Fast fashion came about as it was a form of establishing one's status in terms of not just what you were wearing, but who you were wearing. And it soon evolved when you had these couture designers take indigenous fabric and turn it into a luxury product because it was seen as a commercial venture. The problem with fast fashion in Pakistan today is that, it globally, fast fashion consists of exploitation of socioeconomic cleavages. It is very much part of the capitalist system in Pakistan. It's problematic because it's not suitable for our environment. It's not suitable for our economy. It's not suitable for our market. And so that's why you see the overall deterioration of the industry. You've seen very little research and development go to natural resources such as cotton seeds or preservation of water, or even the lack of tapping into what I think is Pakistan's greatest strength, which is our, female artisans.
Yeah, especially I feel like on the third side, sin side, there's a lot of female artists who I think they contribute a lot in the environment, fashion wise.
Yeah, so what's happened in Pakistan is that we are rich in natural resources, whether it's our soil, whether it's our water, whether it's our craft, whether it's our skill, whether it's even our human capital. But instead of being productive, we ourselves have created a cycle of exploitation. Yes, there is a history of exploitation, from the colonial era, but post-partition, if you look at how urban centers have exploited local craft, local artisans without actually innovating or creating things that could be open to a global market in terms of taking the industry forward or expanding, that hasn't happened. Yes, there have been efforts. I mean, we have to give credit to some entities that have been trying to do that. But you see, unless you're innovating with your natural resources, what you're actually doing is you're taking things away without actually reinvesting.
And that is so true.
Cycle that is now, it's a vicious cycle, and it's gone on for so long that we're now at a place where we just don't know what to do.
Sure. I totally agree with every point that you just said right here. But starting off with the next question that I would like to discuss is the overconsumption patterns we have that contribute the environmental damage. Many of us,
Yeah.
we have adapted this concept of wear it once and then just throw it away or just let it be concept of clothes in our, following the trends, the fast fashion trends that are going on. So what do you think that how our current consumption patterns contribute in the environmental degradation?
I think there is a high level of consumption when we look at the fashion industry. And again, that's because fashion has been reduced to being a status symbol. When in fact, if you study the history of fashion, it is very much a political movement. It's an expression, it's an economy. It is very much um, um, a community-oriented industry. And when your focus primarily is on commercialization, and it's not so much about upholding what fashion really means in essence, which is basically preservation of craft. It's a form of expression. It is perhaps one of the most economically vibrant industries that can really help the country. Then you have an issue of seeing that, somewhere, it's not just the consumers, but it's also the producers of fashion who have gone wrong. And you've got a cycle. Now, when it comes to consumerism, look, in Pakistan, there's two things. You can either dress well or you can eat well.
That's
right?
so true.
And of course, it's come about due to social, political, economic reasons that entertainment nahi hai Pakistan mein. Entertainment के तौर पे आप या तो किसी
रेस्टोरेंट में चले जाएं या ऑन फैशन कपड़े पहन लें
या आप किसी लॉन की दुकान सेल पे चले जाएं फैशन शोज तो खत्म ठीक है तो इससे है कि इससे हमारी लोकल इंडस्ट्री की डिटेरियोरेशन हुई है क्योंकि यहाँ पे हमारी जो कॉटन है जो हमारी लॉन है उसमें रिसर्च डेवलपमेंट कोई नहीं हुई सो एसेंशियली जो फास्ट फैशन अब आ गया है जो कपड़ा आप और मैं आजकल के दौर में हम पहनते हैं ये हमारा लोकल कपड़ा नहीं है व्हिच इज व्हाई इट डजंट इवन सूट आवर क्लाइमेट और इट सूट it's imported and a lot of the fabric that we wear now is essentially for bed sheets it's not suited
that's really a new information for me that a lot of the fabric that we're now wearing is from the bed sheets. The material is of the bed sheets. So wow.
Yeah, and a lot of the fact that people don't have buying power either. या तो आप 2,000 से लेके 10,000 तक का एक जोड़ा खरीद सकते हैं या आप अपना किचन चला सकते हैं.
True. Yeah, that is so true. Yeah, and especially when you look at the markets and when there are sales out there, people are literally out there killing each other, buying some fashionable clothes just for, just for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and people don't understand that it's no longer about, you have to make people understand that what they're wearing. There's a fantastic movement by Fashion Revolution, and there's a chapter of Fashion Revolution Pakistan as well, which I'm part of. Who made your clothes? I think if you want conscious consumerism, then it's no longer about just saying, buy secondhand. It's okay if you were to repeat this kurta. It's okay. Borrow somebody. But I think if people understand that what you're wearing really essentially someone's blood, sweat, and tears, then that conscious consumerism might just take root. I mean, nobody ever acknowledges what has happened to the female cotton pickers of Pakistan, how many children have died, the diseases that there are, the lack of human rights, the lowest of the low. And nobody understands that when you're wearing essentially what is bedsheet material on your body, what it's going to do to your skin or to your children's skin. So I think fast fashion has taken root, but the damage is so great and we have to communicate that.
Yeah, and I feel like these are the few points that we all need to ponder upon, no matter what. So I'll, just like that, I'll move towards my next question. That is, what steps, according to you, can individuals and communities can take to mitigate these environmental issues?
Absolutely, that's a fantastic question. I think number one, you should demand where the fabric is coming from, right? Is it local fabric? Is it imported fabric? Demand more transparency. The fabric in itself is a complete product, right? But the fiber, where's the fiber coming from? Is it coming from Sindh? Has the cotton been picked elsewhere? The people who pick the cotton, what are their wages? I mean, it's shocking when you look at the rates that an average cotton picker in Sindh earns less than, I think it's less than £1 per day, £1 British per day. So demand more If you are looking at patents, for example, there's no copyright. So much, in fact, majority of digital printed fabric right now, the patents belong to rural artisans who have carried on craft for as old as time. They've never been acknowledged. So those patterns that you wear, easily print and the booty and all of that, these aren't original. Why don't you demand textile mills and designers to acknowledge where they've got the patents from? There's very little originality in terms of creativity. So where is it coming from? The embroidery, it's all very well to wear machine embroidery. And of course, urban crafts and artisan people need to eat as well. But would you not want to empower a rural artisan who does embroidery to create clothing that can actually have more value? You have to demand value for your money, right? It's no longer just about impressing people.
So true. So, in what ways do you think that secondhand fashion or buying pre-loved clothing can help address these sort of problems? Like, how can
I
a
think
second, yeah,
I think it's a fantastic option. Look, we all inherit clothes from our mothers, our grandmothers, our sisters, our nannies, dadis, all of that. That's pre-loved fashion. I often say this, that now what's happened is essentially we're copying the West, when in fact ये तो सारे हमारे तौर तरीके पहले के हैं.
yeah,
Buying pre-loved, sharing clothing, sharing jewelry, all of this is very much our way of living because we have a very community-oriented system anyway. So I think if we were to sort of take that forward and say that this is something that we should do and encourage it, I think this can actually sort of address a lot of the exploitation that's taking place in the industry at the moment by saying that no, we're not going to buy new, but we most certainly are going to buy or borrow secondhand or pre-loved items.
And I would just like to want to add this one pointer over here that the pre-loved clothes of your mothers or nani, dadi, they're the most comfiest clothes one can afford and one can wear, and they're so trendy these days. Yeah.
No, but the comfort factor comes in क्योंकि कपड़ा फर्क है ना. कपड़ा
Yeah.
फर्क है, जो आप पहनते हैं वो imported होता है और वो imported कपड़ा जो होता है वो ज्यादातर like I said चादरों का होता है, रजाइयों के covers का होता है, cushion covers का होता है. So the fabric that our grandmothers wore is very different to what we're wearing today. World of a difference in terms of
Yeah,
comfort,
and
in
it's so
terms,
long lasting.
yeah, because when you have commercial fabric,
Mm-hmm.
the fabric that's designed for commercial use, like one time where you wash and wear it and that's it, then its comfort is not, comfort, longevity, sustainability is not what's at the, it's not given any priority.
That's agreed, like totally agreed on that. So lastly, let's just touch the broader impacts of reusing and recycling clothes, clothing items, or perhaps not only clothing items, but I feel like any product that is in a very good condition but it's obviously pre-loved. So starting off with, in your opinion, what is the significance of reusing and recycling in promoting sustainable fashion practices?
We've always had a culture of reusing and recycling because there was never such a high level of consumerism before. It's very common for us to see कि अगर curtains हैं तो curtains इस्तेमाल जब हो जाते हैं तो उनके फिर बगाव तकिए बन जाते हैं या cushion covers बन जाते हैं या मेज पोश बन जाता है, कुछ ना कुछ तरह होता है. So I think a lot of it does come down to how you live your lifestyle and how economically pragmatic you want to be, which is actually something that people need to consider given the state of the economy right now. What has happened is कि बहुत ज़्यादा तौर तरीके जो हमारे पुराने थे वो अब गुम चुके हैं. So people are kind of unsure about how to recycle, what to do with it. पुराने कपड़े जो होते हैं उनका क्या हमें करना चाहिए. I mean, if anything, there needs to be a movement of what can you do with your old kurtas? What can you do with your old dupattas?
Yeah.
How can you reuse your dupattas and turn them into everywhere instead of t-shirts?
Yeah,
That's like, there's so many things given how much fabric is used in it.
So true, and that's like creating
and you
a
can just
new
take
clothes for your own self. That's literally
well,
buying
that's
and
exactly
that's being your own fashion designer.
No, but you see, we've been given these fast solutions. Like, अच्छा घर पे chill करना है, relax करना है, just go buy 20 t-shirts.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but then And then you've also got like a stack of fabric just lying there in your cupboard. What are you going to do with that?
That's something I would now, from now on, do think on it. And I will request everyone out there to please also do think on it. So I'm going to conclude this session. Thank you so much, Meher, for being a part of this session. And I hope that people can learn the importance of sustainable fashion and sustainability and pre-loved clothes. Other than that, the
Not at
significant.
all. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And also, I would like to tell people, everyone out there, that there's a significant impact of fast forward fashion. Yes, it's all trendy and fancy, but you are out there, you can create your own clothes from pre-loved clothing as well. So support, you need
Absolutely.
to support and promote sustainability. BizB has been committed on making sustainable fashion accessible and promoting a healthier planet. So thank you all for being a part of this important discussion we had today with a very, very important guest, Meher. I hope you enjoyed the conversation because I loved it and I got to know so
Thank you.
many new things that I will do think on a few certain ways I spend my wardrobe or I use my wardrobe. So we all should let's continue to take step forward toward more sustainable future, sustainable fashion. Happy World Environmental Day to each and every one of you. Thank you for being the amazing guest, and thank you for being an amazing guest, Meher, to you too.
No, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I wish BizB all the